Hello, hello, citizens and UEMC miners. Rockseeker here, your host for the series on exploration and mining with the UEMC. And I'm here sitting at the bar at the Grimex. It's not really a space station, right? It's a station inside an asteroid in the in the asteroid belt of Yela. And I'm here with Stim, and we're having an interesting discussion about ships we just had on the previous episode. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go and have a look at it, about a upcoming game changer, who, depending on when you watch this show, you'll probably know what the game changer is, but I think we're pretty close to what it should be. And for when we left you guys, we were about to discuss about what we think future upcoming concept ship could be. So, hello back, Stim. So why don't you
Hey,
kick this video by saying what you think, like, let's say one of them could be.
sure. Okay. Well, what we know and what we sort of left off with the last video was that the next set of ships we know are going to be civilian type ships. So we're pretty much done with all of the military ships, all the combat ships. That's all done. That's in process that they can really get Squadron 42 going for us. And now it's all of those support ships that are going to be able to do things like, potentially, as the game changer comes along, by the time you read this, you'll know, or see it, you'll know, will end up being that it's some kind of colonization or construction type thing. So the ships that are going to come up in the future, I think we're going to end up seeing ships that flesh out the different lineups that the different manufacturers have. So I think Drake will get a few more larger sort of medium ships. I think that Origins had a pretty good lineup right now, but Misk needs some larger ships as well, maybe even a smaller ship entering in, maybe even some ground vehicles.
You think that Miss with the new ship, there hasn't been many done, but they have all the hull series there.
Yeah, true. They've got all that hauling, and maybe Misk ends up being the real sort of hauler supplier, and we don't get a lot of haulers that specialize in hauling. So it ends up being that Misk specializes completely down a hauling strategy, where Drake goes kind of piratey, and they've got hauling and modular ones like with the Caterpillar, but they are not necessarily occupying the same zones. But I guess what I can say is, and this is what the talk is out there on Reddit and in the different forums and even on UEMC, is that we're missing some ships in that medium size, right? So we've got the Constellation, we now have the Origin that's come in there, but what about something that's Drake that is bigger than the Cutlass, but smaller, than an Idris, let's say, something that's in that middle range.
But yeah.
Yeah, but Caterpillar's also a pretty big ship, so I mean, it's much bigger than the Connie.
Coming back to what you were saying, you say, yeah, I agree with you that the next wave of ships will be most likely civilian. But now there's something else, right? We're about to have 3.0. Right now, as we're recording this video, it's a couple of weeks out. We'll see how, depending on how Evocati and the PTU goes, but eventually we'll have 3.0 out. And one major thing in 3.0 is that we have NPCs. And those NPCs don't necessarily fly the big, nice ship and so on, but they need working class ships, right? So it goes back again, it ties in with this game changer ship that they're about to unveil at CitizenCon. And if it's a construction space station building ship, right, it would make sense that in the expanding universe, we start seeing some of those there with NPCs working at building those truck stops and stuff that we saw on around the verse and things like this.
Yeah, definitely. And what about roads as well? Right, we've seen the road system sort of come together. There's also potentially, it's a bit of a far stretch, but maybe some terraforming. I mean, if we're really thinking big. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out there in terms of civilian roles. We've been given a base set of design documents on things like salvage, exploration, mining, touring, sort of luxury personnel transport. But then there's also things like I mean, take touring for example. How I mean, you can visit different destinations, but what about being a part of creating those destinations? What about putting together those space stations and those casinos that are out there on the, a place to go to, and you've got AI walking around that NPC, and you're training that NPC, and they're going up in skill levels in terms of things like dealing cards, like Twerk17 does on his stream, or just running something that people want to go to and have those mini games that are going to be in the universe. I mean, we've got pool tables on ships, so I don't know. What do you think?
It's limitless, right? You can go and build on surface, you can go and build in space, build the interior, have all of those different gameplay that you add. So definitely there's going to be a streak of vehicles that are probably related to NPC work. One ship that we've heard about for many months, if not almost a year, it's the famous Saber Raven. That one is a military,
Yes.
definitively. And my personal guess, maybe a bit wish at the same time, is that it be like a Super Raven. Something very like, I don't know, so like a notch a bit more than the actual Saber to compete with the Super Hornet. So that'd be kind of cool, and that would be an LTI ship, being a new concept. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that would jump on that one, having at this point, a LTI combat ship. So that would be very interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The Saber Raven is anything thought of to be anywhere from the Anvil's, or the answer to the Super Hornet, all the way through to just a variant, like a paint, a skin job on the original Saber, like the Hornet Wildfire and those variants are. So it'll be interesting to see what actually comes out there.
Well, there's even been rumor, right, that it would be a promotion, a bit like the Mustang Omega, but for the Intel Octane, the new CPU. That is
Yeah, that's true.
the way to get it would be some kind of code that you get with when you buy the Octane. You get a code, and then you can claim your ship or have access to it. Although it would be quite an expensive ship if it was to be a kind of Super Raven. But if it's just a skin color,
Yeah.
who knows, maybe.
Yeah, that could work. I mean, think about the pirate skin that they did for the Caterpillar. You had to complete all of Arena Commander, I think it was, in order to unlock that skin. And then that gave you the access to actually buy the pirate version of the ship.
Well, yeah, you had to complete the Pirate Swarm.
That's right, Pirate
Swarm. And if you completed the Vandal Swarm, that's how you had access to the glaive, the Vandal glaive.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how I got my 48 months glaive. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. An LTI glaive. Do you think that's going to be a possibility?
For me? Well, I think we're going to keep that for the next episode. We're already 9 minutes in, so we'll come back to this soon. So bear with us. Yes, I promise. Next episode, we'll start with this, and then we'll see where we go from this discussion. So see you guys soon in a couple days.
Thanks, guys.